We are live. Welcome, welcome. What's going on, everybody? I just startled my dog over here sitting next to me. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a good week so far. Let me check my audio levels and camera feed. I think we're all good to go. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another episode of Apple Home Talk Live. It's great to see everybody here. If you are building a smart home or wanting to build a smart home, you're in the right place. We're going to talk all about that for the next hour or so. We got a few things in the news we can cover and talk about, some new product releases and things like that. And I want to talk a little bit about my smart home today and kind of where I'm at. Yeah, no hat today. That's right. I got somewhere to be after this. I have to stay on time and no hat today. What's going on? Turin, George. What's up, George? Good to see you here. Robert, Jeff, how's everybody doing today? So talk a little bit about my smart home and then we'll answer as many questions as we can. So should be fun. Let's say hi to some folks real quick as everyone's kind of getting into the chat and we'll go from there. Let's see. John, what's going on? John K. Wolf. Bar Buttman, hello from Greece. Awesome, very cool. Let's see if my pop-up's working. Okay, looking good there. Steve, what's up, Steve? Edgar, Michael, yeah, I am. There we go. Michael, I am feeling much better. Thank you for that. Those of you who tuned in last week, I was on the back end of the flu. I got that good old CES flu. And boy, it did wreck me. And I missed a whole live stream earlier in the month and came back last week, but had to hit the mute button a few times to let out some coughs. And I don't think we'll have that issue today. Finally got over all that. Got back in the gym this week, which felt good because it has been, I think it was like the first time I went to the gym this year. So nice to be feeling good. I tell you what, when you feel that bad, kind of makes you appreciate the days you wake up just feeling good when you don't have any sicknesses or illnesses or anything. So remember that. If you wake up feeling good, be grateful. It is, it's nice to be back. And we have some beautiful weather today. It got up into the 70s outside. So it's like the snow is gone. The flu is gone. I got a little bit of spring fever going on right now, but things are good. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Darius Creative from New Zealand. All right, we got folks from all over the place. St. Louis in the house. What's going on, Mill? Dan from the UK. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. Jeff says, next time before leaving Vegas, get a recovery IV. Many services there. Some will come to you at the hotel. Totally worth it. I've actually never done that, but that is not a bad idea. I was trying to think of what I can do to avoid the CES flu. I've got it the last 2 years. Actually, my wife and I both got it the last 2 years. So it's becoming a tradition and it seems unavoidable. We take all of our vitamins, like emergencies every day and all that stuff, and we still get it. So yeah, I'm looking for some suggestions. That's a good one there. Might have to explore that a little bit. Raul, Doug, what's going on, guys? George, I saw you, said hey to you already. Hope you're doing all right this week. Old Orchard Beach in the house. Thump Jimmy, what's going on? James from 55 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. Awesome. Thank you. It says great hair. I'm usually wearing hats. I guess you guys don't see my hair that often. That's kind of funny. Hope you guys are all doing well. We'll kind of get things. Let me switch my screen over here so I can check out everything we got going on. All right, so a couple things I want to mention. We'll talk about some news and stuff. First of all, I did want to share, I've said this before in the live streams, but I want to do another viewer automation video, and I've almost got enough submissions to do one of those. If you haven't seen those, you can find those on my channel. Maybe I'll put a link down in the description after this video, or after the live stream, but there's actually a playlist. I've done a few of these. It's always a lot of fun. Get to see what you guys are doing with your smart home. So if you haven't submitted one, I know Raul, I think I saw one from Raul. So we got some good ones in there already. I've almost got enough for another viewer automation video. So if you haven't submitted one and you would like to, we can showcase your smart home automations on the channel. If you're doing anything creative or interesting or unique, or you just want to share with everybody, we would love to see that. There are instructions down in the description below on how you can send that over to me. Just basically shoot a short little video, it could be on your iPhone or whatever, and explain your automation, and we would love to feature that. Oh, Michael said I'll work on a better resolution upload. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. I emailed Michael recently about his submission. So yeah, good, very cool one there too. So look forward to sharing some of those with you guys, and hopefully we'll get just a few more and we can do that very soon. So yeah, again, down in the description, if you're interested in doing that, again, we'd love to see those. All right, so let's talk about a few things that came out in the past week you may be interested in the world of smart home. First up, the Flic Duo is now available to pre-order. So they're saying batch 1, the first batch, is estimated to ship in June. So this is Flic's new button. I've used Flic buttons for a long time. They've got the regular Flic 2 button. There is the Flic Twist button, which is really nice. And now they've got this Flic Duo coming out. You can get more information here on this website. I did a little demo of this over at CES in Vegas, and really unique and really cool little button. Let's see here, if we scroll down, you can see some of the little demos here. So obviously you can attach it to a wall, has on off, but it has these interesting little like gesture controls that you can do. So you can do a swipe or like a press and twist to control your smart home accessories. It does support Matter. They say it will support Matter on launch, which is nice. Let's see, they've got some bundles here. That's a lot of Flic Twists, or Flic Duos right there. I guess if you wanted to go all in, you could get one of those bundles. Let's see if we got some smaller bundles pricing. It's in here somewhere. Sorry for all the scrolling. There we go. So on launch or for pre-order, you can get one for $49. You will need a Flic hub, I believe, to connect this to like Matter and everything. Or to be able to control your other Matter accessories, I guess I should say. But yeah, you can get some of these. I'm interested in trying this in real life. I did the little demo. It worked pretty well in the demos, but there were some connectivity issues here and there, and a lot of that is due to like just being at a big tech conference like I was. I saw a lot of demos that didn't work very well, but when this did work, it was super cool. So I'm excited to get this and use it in real life. One thing that's really interesting, I mentioned the gesture recognitions with this one. It has an accelerometer built in, which is what allows you to be able to do those gesture controls to control your smart home accessories. And I was reading through some of this, and one of the cool things I saw is that apparently it will be able to tell, because of that accelerometer, I guess, if the switch is on the wall or if you remove it from the wall. So I think you'll be able to configure certain things for like if it's on the wall and you just press the buttons while it's on the wall. And then when you remove it, I believe those buttons will be able to, control other things and do different things when you remove it from the wall. So that's pretty cool. Definitely interesting and unique. I don't know. Is anybody going to get the Flic Twist? Let me know. Lawrence says is nice, but not enough of a draw to buy. Yeah, it'll be, again, if it works well, then I don't know. It's really unique. So if it works well, it may be, I don't know, something just a different, cool way to control your smart home stuff, I feel like. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Talking about some cameras here in the stream. Brian says, I'm thinking about purchasing a 3D printer. Anyone have Apple Home suggestions for the printer itself or smart home prints? Besides covering light switches, trying to rationalize the purchase. Funny you say that, Brian. I have a video I think you'll be interested in coming up very soon. So that's all I want to say. Stay tuned. But I have been getting into the world of 3D printing lately, and it's been fun. It's been fun, specifically for my smart home too. So I think you'll enjoy that video. That's coming soon. Right now I have a tech museum in my storage unit. Yeah, I feel you, George. I met with some people today. One of my big projects I want to do this year is to like renovate my garage, and I actually want to create a nice like a well, just like a workbench area in my garage, but also maybe a place where I can shoot videos and stuff like that. But with that is going to come a lot of storage. So that's one of my projects I'm hoping to do. I definitely need more storage as well. So I feel you on that. Steve said, I love the printed Apple remote holder you made. The Apple TV remote holder. Yeah, that was awesome. That was one of my favorite ones. Really nice. I see some questions coming in. You guys can go ahead and ask questions. I will do a Q&A in the last half of the stream. But if you have a question, feel free to go ahead and drop that, and I will flag the questions, and we'll come back to them here in just a little bit. All right, so moving on, a couple of other products and things that I saw released. I don't know exactly when this was released, but UTech released their Ultralock Bolt fingerprint matter version. So this supports matter over thread, which is really nice. I actually really like the Bolt fingerprint. The one that I have connects over Wi-Fi, and it supports HomeKit, not Matter, and it has the fingerprint scanner. But when you're connecting these locks like that one to HomeKit, it usually uses I think it always uses Bluetooth through HomeKit. So it can just be a little slow, which is not a big deal for the location where I use mine, but I really love the lock. And so having a matter over thread version is pretty intriguing. I'm kind of interested in this. I might, I don't know, I'm thinking about this maybe to replace my other one. But we will see. Lots of smart locks this year. John says, how are you liking your SwitchBot remote? I like it. So I was using it primarily in my bedroom for the Apple TV in there and a couple of accessories in my bedroom. That's the way I've been using it recently. So I've moved it around a few spots since I made that video on it. But if you didn't watch my last video that came out this past Sunday on remodeling the guest room, definitely go check that out, because that's where I'm using the SwitchBot remote now, and it is the perfect solution for that specific use case. So I'm using it to control all the accessories. I put a bunch of smart accessories in this guest room that we renovated and remodeled, and SwitchBot remote was the perfect solution for that. So yeah, anybody else order the Flic Duo? Let me know. Let me know. We just got done talking about it. I am hoping to get my hands on hopefully I'll be able to try it out and can share with you guys how it goes. Is the Hollow Mark out of the game? So the Hollow Mark smart lock, that was the smart doorknob. And that has basically been, let's see. That has basically been replaced, I think. I saw it wasn't available, so I'm assuming they just replaced it with this right here. I did a video on this one. This is the Thorbolt, but this is the same company that made the Hollow Mark. In fact, when you add this to HomeKit, it says Hollow Mark as the default name. But this is basically the same product, except the form factor is just a little bit different. I like this one better actually than the Hollow Mark form factor, and this one has the fingerprint on top. So still supports thread, HomeKit over thread and everything. So all those same features, just a little bit different form factor. So I think they probably replaced that one with this one, since it's essentially the same, just added the fingerprint scanner. So, oh, thank you, Torin. I appreciate that. Yeah, we definitely needed to do something there. So it was nice to finally get that project done. Okay, moving on. Speaking of SwitchBot, as we were a minute ago, I did want to quickly point out this. So in that video where I remodeled the guest room, we shared the SwitchBot air purifier table, and I showcased that a good bit in there. Love this, absolutely love this thing, especially for that guest room. It was exactly what I wanted. But a quick little update, and of course, this update came like literally days after I released the video. This now supports Matter over Wi-Fi. So that update has been pushed. I mentioned that in the video that it was coming, but at the time of my recording, it wasn't out there yet. So it just supported basically Matter through their SwitchBot hub. And it was only like on off basically in the Apple Home app. But now this supports Matter directly through Wi-Fi, which is nice. In fact, I think this might be SwitchBot's first product to support Matter directly without going through one of their hubs. I think it's the first one that I can think of. So anyways, that's nice to see, and it does work really well. I did pair it up to Matter, and you get the air purifier in HomeKit. You get so you get like the fan speed control, you get obviously on off, you can do the auto mode also through HomeKit, and you also get the air quality sensor exposed to HomeKit. So just wanted to share that since I recently released that video, and that update came out since then. So check out some of these comments. George says SwitchBot needs to offer their products in all their products in black. I'd be a much bigger fan if they did. Yeah, I guess that's true. A lot of their stuff is white. Most of their like bigger products, I guess like the robot vacuums and stuff and the purifiers. It's kind of weird because their SwitchBot lock, the Lock Pro, is black. It's like one of their only black products, and I think they have a silver too. I'm not sure if the new one I think the new one coming out is going to be offered in silver and black that they showed at CES. You probably remember that, George. And let's see, what else do they have? And just the bot. I think that's the only other thing that they offer in black, and white and black. So yeah, that's true. All right. Gabby, real quick, says, where do we send user video uploads for the home automation ideas? I created a cool driveway sensor connected to an Aqara contact sensor for HomeKit compatibility. Cool. Would love to see more of that. Again, there are instructions down in the description of this live stream. There's an email address. You can just shoot over the details, a little short video showcasing the automation, but all that is in the description of this live stream. And yeah, just shoot me an email and we'll feature that automation. That sounds like a cool one there. Look forward to seeing that. All right. We also got, since our last live stream, a bunch of new Aqara devices were released in Europe. So not US. Unfortunately, I know we got some people from all over the place here watching today though, so maybe you will find this of interest. A lot of different smart light bulbs. That's interesting because we don't have any smart light bulbs from Aqara in the US. We only have I think the only lights are the ceiling light and the light strip available in the US. But they got a bunch of smart bulbs that I think support Zigbee and or Thread, which is nice. I love that Aqara is doing this. They're releasing, so they talked about this at CES. A lot of their new devices, or most of their new devices, will support Zigbee and Thread. So basically you have the option to use Thread or Zigbee, which is really cool. I love that they're doing that. I kind of wish more would do that. But here we go. We got the H2 Smart Switch. We got this display switch, which is kind of a unique design. So this, I think, controls 2 separate loads or switches and some configurable buttons that you can program to run scenes and stuff like that. The touchscreen dial, which is really nice. This has a great feel to it. I got to look at that and use it a little bit at CES. Unique design. And then the star of the show, the Aqara Panel Hub S1 Plus. This was released in Europe this past week, I believe. And I am, so yeah, okay, here we go. This is where it was released. Nice article here from HomeKit News. And this will, in fact, be coming to the US, and we'll eventually ship internationally. I don't know exactly when that's going to start, but it will be this year. That's what we're told. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm interested in that, especially that panel, that smart panel right there. I'd like to see how well that kind of plays with the rest of my smart home, but really cool device. It looks super sleek, so I'm excited about that. They also announced a bunch of smart switches for the US at CES, and all the different switches supported Matter, or will support they will support Matter, but they'll support Thread or Zigbee also, which is, again, that's great. So I love to hear that. Let me check out the comments real quick, see what you guys say. Aqara app updates firmware to Zigbee or Thread from what I've seen. Yep, so you'll be able to choose, is the way I understand it, if you want to connect your device over Zigbee or Thread. And honestly, I'm a fan of using the Zigbee stuff. If you have an Aqara hub, Zigbee works fantastic in my experience. But if you want to use Thread, it's definitely nice to have that option. Then you can pair should be able to pair the devices directly to your smart home ecosystem like Apple Home without the hub using Thread. So that's nice. George says every smart home brand in the universe needs to take notice of what Aqara is doing and follow their lead. They are starting to leave everyone in the dust. They really are, man. They've just been crushing it. There's a couple other brands that have really been crushing it, I think, but Aqara is definitely top of the list in just the past couple years. I remember using Aqara devices before they were even available in the US. Some of you probably have too. There was a time where HomeKit, not that long ago, a few years ago, where HomeKit devices were kind of hard to come across. They were few and far between, and what was available was really expensive. And I remember hearing about Aqara, and they were only available in, I guess, like the Chinese market, but you could order stuff from like AliExpress or whatever and get it shipped over, and they were so affordable, just little sensors and stuff like that. You could get a sensor for like, $13 versus like a $50 sensor from, one of the other companies. And again, there weren't that many available back then. So yeah, I've been using that Aqara stuff for a long time. And since they came out in the US, have just been crushing it with just innovations and new products. I mean, I can't remember how many new devices they released last year, something like 15 new products. And then this year, they're going to be doing the same thing. So, yeah, I agree. I don't know how they can innovate that quickly, but they're doing it. And their products work really well in my experience. So, let's see. Eve has been kind of quiet. Edgar says Eve has been quiet for some time. I think they've got some new stuff coming out soon. Trying to remember what I heard from them, if there was anything. Yeah, I don't think they've released any new products. I know they were really trying to update all their existing products to support Matter over Thread. So I kind of feel like maybe that's where some of that holdup is from. Instead of pushing out new devices, they've been kind of trying to update all their existing ones, which is also good. I do like that. Torrent says, do you need an M3 hub to use Thread? So assuming you mean just for the Aqara devices, you shouldn't need an M3 hub to use Thread. So I assume it's going to be like the other, again, I haven't used any of the Aqara devices that support Zigbee or Thread, like these new ones coming out, but I assume it'll be like the existing Aqara Thread devices where like they've got a door sensor, a motion sensor. I think that's it. And, with those, like most Matter over Thread devices, you pair them directly to your Apple Home ecosystem. So if you want to be able to like use them in the Aqara app. You might need an Aqara hub to access some more features and stuff. But for like just to get it into HomeKit or whatever, you shouldn't need an M3 hub if you're using Thread. I see some questions rolling in. We'll get to those for sure. Bear with me. Oh man, lots of questions coming in. Whew. All right, I'm going to save these questions. We need to get to the questions because y'all got a few of them. I'll go ahead and take that one. I don't know if I'm going to IFA 2025. I would like to. It's kind of like, I guess you would say it's like Europe's version of CES. I don't know. Would you agree? I would definitely like to. I've never been to IFA. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. I just got to weigh out, you know, it's pretty expensive for me to travel that far. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. All right, moving on, a couple new things, other things just to mention real quick. In case you weren't aware, tvOS, HomePod, all the Apple things have been updated this week. So you can update your Apple TVs and your HomePods to 18.3 if you haven't already. There's no significant updates, I don't think, that I've seen. Supposedly, you can get this maybe 18.3 might support robot vacuums now. I haven't been able to try this or see if that's the case. I don't know if anybody has any experience with that and can share. But aside from that, it's just a minimal update, but worth mentioning. So you might want to update all your devices if you haven't already. Let's see. And yeah, that's really about it. So I was gonna talk about my smart home stuff a little bit, and kind of the current state of my smart home. You guys let me know if you want to do that, or I can just jump right into questions and we can do that too. So we'll kind of freestyle this. We'll see where it goes. Trent says still no vacuum support. Yeah, I haven't seen anything. But I don't know. Keep thinking soon it'll happen. Edgar says it would be nice to see the Eve Energy strip with Thread. Hopefully more than 3 plug. Yeah, for me, I'm still waiting for. I want to see them update the Eve Flare with Matter. So I mean, it supports Thread. Love that product, but I want to be able to get it into a few other ecosystems. So I'd like to see them update that with Thread or with Matter. Still waiting on that one. All right, let me get to some of these questions. Craig says, yes, please update. Yeah, you guys let me know if you want me to talk a little bit about the current state of my smart home. That was kind of what I was planning to do. But since we have so many questions, I'm going to jump to some of these, and then we'll go back and forth a little bit. From Switzerland. All right. Says your videos are super informative. I have a question about automation with CarPlay. I created a shortcut for my ranch gate that works through Siri. All right. Oh, I don't see the question in there. But yeah, I don't know if I missed that. James says, show us your home. Still messing around with Home Assistant, or have you stopped? Talk about your smart home. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit. So I'm kind of in this weird place right now, and I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. So I'll just share, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. So I've been playing around with Home Assistant. That was one of the questions here, and asked if I'm still messing around with Home Assistant. I am messing around with Home Assistant. I also have recently plugged up my Homey Pro again, and for those who may not be familiar, this here is the Homey Pro. It's basically it's kind of like an all-in-one smart home hub that you can buy. You can do automations. Basically, you do everything through this, and you can tie certain things into HomeKit as well with this. It's kind of expensive. It's about $400, I believe, but they do have a mini version coming out soon, which will be half the price. So that's nice. And then there's Home Assistant, which most of you have probably heard of by now. Definitely more advanced. You can install this on your own hardware, or you can get something like Home Assistant Green. So where I'm at now is I'm just so torn. So the current state of my smart home is that it's all over the place. So I still use Apple Home as kind of the main interface on my phones whenever I'm using my phone. My wife still uses it. My daughter still uses, she mainly uses HomePods, I think, to control the devices in her rooms or in her room. But I've tried the Home Assistant thing, and it's really great. It's really great, and it's super powerful. And I know I'll piss Home Assistant people off every time I talk about this, but it is just not fun to use. And so for that reason, I plugged back in Homey Pro. So initially I was thinking, well, I'm going to use Home Assistant, and I'm going to try that out, and I'm going to get to where I can replace everything that maybe I was doing with Homey Pro and Home Assistant. I did that, and it's just not fun to use. So every time I try to do anything in Home Assistant, like just create a simple automation, it feels like homework to me. Maybe that's a little bit dramatic, but that's just how I feel. So I plugged up Homey Pro, started using that again, got a bunch of my devices back up and running on there, created some automations, and it was just like a breath of fresh air using Homey Pro to create automation. So the kind of my logic behind all this is that I do want to use one of these other platforms to kind of drive more advanced automations behind the scenes. I'm still always going to use Apple Home for, the primary interface and just to kind of tie everything together. But I do like having something else kind of behind the scenes these days. I still don't run really very crazy advanced automations. I typically like to keep things simple. And that is, that's where Home Assistant really shines, is running just crazy advanced automations, I think. And I don't really need it for a lot of the crazy stuff you can do in there. And I find that just like simple automations is a pain in the butt to set up. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. But I go over there and use Homey Pro and just their nice little flow system. The drag and drop, and just the interface is amazing over there. And I set up no joke, I probably spent like a whole day trying to automate a button in Home Assistant just to control some lights or something. And I still don't know if I ever got it configured correctly. I guess Home Assistant doesn't really like buttons. Anyways, I went over in a Homey Pro and I did it over there, and it was just so easy, and it just worked like that. Caroline's in the chat. Let's see what you say. I almost lost my life this week over an annoying light automation for our main lights. All right now. Here's the wife. She's coming in hot. Yeah. I wanted to set up, and that was a Home Assistant automation. So we're going to blame that one on Home Assistant there. Yeah, trying to set up an automation. That one she's talking about. I wanted some automations for my bedroom, but I've never automated the lights in my bedroom, mainly because there's not much room for error, and motion automations take some time to get right. I think they take some tweaking. You have to kind of see how they work and how you use them and stuff like that. And in the bedroom, I don't have much time. I was trying to kind of tweak some of those settings and things. And I don't know. So I took that motion sensor out of there. I was trying to use the presence sensor actually in the bedroom to do some stuff. Anyways, maybe we'll save that for another day. I'll have to wait till she goes on out of town or something. Maybe we'll get that right. You might be doing something wrong if simple automations are tripping you up in Home Assistant. I mean, I get it done, but I mean, if you could tell me a simple way to automate just a button in Home Assistant, I would be interested to see that, because I have not been able to do that. That should be a simple one, but I don't think Home Assistant does too well with buttons. I think that's what it is. But you know, other things are okay. I mean, I can do basic things, turn this on, time of day. That's another one. Time of day is it's just more confusing in Home Assistant. And Homey Pro, if you've ever used Homey Pro, it's just so nice. And that's probably the old like graphic designer, you know, user interface designer in me that loves just that great interface. But you know, that's just how I feel about it. So, and then I kind of got to thinking, you know, I like Home Assistant for bringing in a lot of the other accessories, maybe that don't support HomeKit into HomeKit. It's been really great for that. And I haven't really been using HomeBridge. So right now I literally have, of course, Apple Home, and then I've got Homey Pro, I've got Home Assistant, and I've got HomeBridge still running. So, and Scripted, and I'm using Scripted for my cameras. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm all over the place. Turin says Homey Pro just seems too expensive. That has been, yeah, it is. It's, I think, $400 for that, the Homey Pro. Again, the Homey Pro Mini is coming out though pretty soon, and it's half the price. So I think that's going to be $200. Definitely a good option there, I think, for people who just want something like that. But does Homey Pro have virtual switches? Yes, you can do virtual switches with Homey Pro. Eric, oh, what's up, Eric? Eric Wielander's in the house. Y'all go check out Eric Wielander's YouTube channel if you haven't already. Eric says, I agree. Home Assistant is a great replacement for HomeBridge, and Homey Pro is better for managing automations and smarts for your home. I run Scripted inside Home Assistant. Oh, interesting. I haven't tried running Scripted inside Home Assistant. Maybe I'll look into that. I don't know. Every time I look into something with Home Assistant, though, I end up just losing sleep and getting frustrated. So I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know where I'm going to go with this. That's just kind of the current state. I'm curious to hear what other people think. I do like to keep things simple. I think that's why I'm starting to wonder if maybe I don't need to use Home Assistant. But then again, I do really like some of the things that I've been able to use it for. And dashboards is another great use case for Home Assistant. My wall-mounted iPad, I'm using the Home Assistant dashboard that I created for that, and it's awesome. So, you know, I don't know. I'm at a crossroads, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. I started playing around with the Homey Pro dashboards recently. So Homey now supports dashboards. They're really nice too. They're not as, you can't obviously customize them as much as you can Homey or Home Assistant, but they're really nice. So that was one of the big things that you couldn't do with Homey back when I switched over to Home Assistant. So it's nice to see that they now support that. Let's see what you guys say. Tika says, I'm using Homey Pro as a back end and HomeKit as my front end. I love Homey Pro. I do too. I will say one of my big hesitations with Homey Pro since I started using it again here recently is the device integration. So if I could integrate everything into Homey Pro like I can Home Assistant, I think it would probably be a no-brainer for me, but I still have some devices that I can't get in to Homey Pro. So that's the one thing that's kind of holding me up right now. So I'm thinking, I don't know, should maybe I just use HomeBridge for that, or I don't know. But have you run into any issues with that, like compatibility or certain devices maybe you can't add? That may be a unique problem for me since I have so many smart home devices from so many manufacturers. Mike says, where does Homebridge rank with the others? So Homebridge is really just for bringing in devices into HomeKit that don't support it natively. And if that's all you want to do, then Homebridge I think is fine for that. The others I look at more, speaking of Homey Pro and Home Assistant, those are more of, I look at it more of as automation platforms or just smart home ecosystems really. So you can run automations and do a lot more with those. Homebridge really is just a bridge really to bring in devices into HomeKit. You can do some other things with it, but not really like automations and stuff. So that's kind of the big difference there. Zane says, same here, Home Assistant for bringing non-HomeKit accessories to HomeKit and some nice dashboards. Chris says, I got into Home Assistant to get things in HomeKit. HomeKit is my preferred platform, but automations in Home Assistant are why I stay. It is an incredibly powerful platform. Yeah, Home Assistant sports mode. And that's another thing too, like my one issue with the like device compatibility is that with Matter, more and more Matter devices coming out, that may not be an issue in the future because Homey Pro, Home Assistant, they all support Matter. So the more Matter devices I have, the more I can really add them to any ecosystem. Oh, that's a good point right there. Kenny says, interested to see how Homey works out with LG at the helm. LG have a poor reputation when it comes to smart home. Yeah, that's a good point. I actually spoke with the guys at Homey, or one of the guys from Homey at CES, which is really nice. And I actually asked them about this because that was, something I was interested in too. And you just how that whole partnership has gone. And from what I've been told, from what he told me, is that it's been really good. So they were a little unsure, I think, how it was going to go too. But essentially, they've left them pretty much all alone to run Homey just like they have kind of separately. And the difference is LG can kind of tap into them for some of the smart home functionality. Like they actually released an LG smart home hub in Korea. I think it was just in Korea they released this hub, but it's essentially running Homey's software on it. And at the same time, Homey, the guys at Homey have more resources and support that they can tap into for things like device compatibility and just more connections and things like that. So it seems to be a pretty good partnership, and they seem to be happy with it just from what I heard at CES, and hopefully that's going to continue to be a good thing. LG has disappointed me with their support. Yeah, and I think... and I think that's a good thing for them to continue to operate separately. Like you're not going to be going to LG support for your Homey Pro issues. I don't think you'll still be, going and dealing with Homey for that. So At My Home says, what's going on At My Home? Good to see you here. Says another great feature of Homey is that they have both a phone app and a web interface, the latter making it easier to manage your device as your device count gets high. Yeah, I agree. That's really nice. And you can, of course, do that with Home Assistant too. But yeah, I definitely love being able to use the web interface to build automations, especially. It's really been great for that. All right. Ben says started using Home Assistant to bring in a few devices, but like their dashboards. I've used it to bring presence and temp sensors, temperature probe sensors from Apollo automation into HomeKit, which has been great. Nice. And I think there's actually a Home Assistant Homey integration, which I have not explored that yet. So maybe that's something I'll look into there. I don't know if anybody's doing that. That's kind of I don't know. I don't want to like overcomplicate things too. I feel like I'm trying to avoid overcomplicating things by having just all these systems run if I don't need them. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing, but that's where I'm at now. I really do love automation. Like I want to do what is fun, and I want to have fun building automations and messing with my smart home. And Home Assistant just gives me a headache. I'm not gonna lie, but Homey Pro is a lot of fun. I just love the interface, being able to use the flows and connect things and stuff. They've just done a really good job with that, I think. All right, let's get to some questions here. Chris asks, how have the GE Sync lights held up? Any issues? They've been really good. Yeah, they've been really good. I am not really had any issues with them. They do run a little bit hot, I've noticed. If you keep them on like full brightness all the time, they can run a little bit hot. But other than that, I haven't had any issues with them. I do basically have mine on all the time. That's another one of the automations that I need to set up I want to have them like dim down really low, and I'd like to set up some zones, some presence zones, and have them brighten up when somebody's right there next to the counter or something. I have not set that up yet, but yeah, just in general, I'm happy with them. Great, seems to be a great product. Yeah. Frederick, awesome, man. Thank you, Frederick, for supporting the channel for 31 months and for being a moderator here and helping out with the chat. I appreciate you. Frederick says, will you be doing a follow-up video on installs outside your home? The nursery, granddad, etc. Want to see how they like them today. Huh, that's interesting. I'm not planning any right now. So yeah, my grandfather, I'm not sure about doing that one. My parents I could do. I did do a smart home installation at my parents' house. Maybe even the nursery too. I don't know, because with that, to do like a follow-up with other people, you have to get people who are willing to be on camera, which sometimes is not always easy to do. My dad was in that first one though, so maybe he would do one. I'm actually going to install a product soon at the same house where I installed where I did the whole smart nursery. So maybe I can check in with them and see if they'd be interested. That video actually didn't perform that well, if I recall correctly, the nursery video. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed making that one, but yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. But I'll definitely have to consider doing more like follow-up type of videos just in general. So I'm kind of been thinking about doing something kind of like that with the wife, maybe just kind of like getting her opinion. I don't know if she's still here in the chat. I don't know. Maybe that'd be a bad idea. She has a lot to say about my motion automations, apparently. How come your wife hasn't been on with you? She'll get on a video every now and then, but she also works full time still, and so it's a little harder for her to find the time. All right, let's do some more questions. I'm gonna try to rapid fire some questions because like I said, I do have to stay on time today. Have you ever thought about making a project with the Aqara S1 and using your 3D printer to print a special desktop case with a battery and USB powered? I have not thought about doing that, but that's an interesting thought. I guess you're talking about the S1 panel. I mean, it's still not available yet, but yeah, that could be cool. Nice little tabletop mount. Question, I'm using the Aqara double rocker switch to control my bathroom fan and bathroom light. My converter shortcut seems slow to get to the nighttime hue. Any hints to speed it up? Unfortunately, I've found that sometimes that's the case when you're doing convert to shortcut, depending on what all your shortcut does. Sometimes they can run a little bit slow. Any hints to speed it up? I mean, I don't know if it's something, if it's an automation that you can build into, let's see. Oh, your bathroom light is Hue. Okay. I don't really know, man. When you're using that convert to shortcut, there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, maybe you can try building it and I don't know, maybe you could try like the controller for HomeKit app with that new hub mode. Maybe that would be faster to do something like that. You can do like more advanced automations over there as well without using convert to shortcut, maybe. But yeah, right there in the Apple Home app, I don't know. That's kind of one of the reasons why I'm like looking at these other systems for, more advanced automations. Because, some things like convert to shortcut's awesome sometimes, but depending on like the automation, sometimes it can be a little slow. So, and maybe that'll get better this year. We're hoping to see, Apple Intelligence and a lot of improvements come to the smart home through Apple. So I would love to see some improvements with stuff like that and speed, but we'll see. Ecobee or Google Nest, personal opinion. I adapted an Ecobee for Europe and love it, but think the Nest is very good too. I'm a Ecobee fan for the thermostats. I love the thermostats. I love the way the Nest one looks, like the new one looks awesome. It supports Matter, but from the couple of videos I watched, it looks like the Matter integration, isn't 100% great there. So I don't know, but I haven't used it. So, but me, I use Ecobee, and I'm a big fan of that thermostat. Okay, let me try to get through some more of these questions. I did have a problem with my Flic LR hub, and I removed it from HomeKit, but I cannot find the HomeKit code anywhere. Oh man, it has been so long since I set up my Flic hub into HomeKit. I don't really recall the process. I think you have to do that through the app. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I don't know if anybody else has one and remembers, but I think you have to do it through the app. Yeah, actually, you don't add the Flic hub to HomeKit. So you do it per button. That's what it is. So when you set up a button in the Flic to the Flic hub, you go into that button settings, and then you basically say like convert or use with HomeKit or whatever, and then the button will be exposed to HomeKit. So it's not the hub. You got to do it per button. That's what it was. Josh says, do you use iOS shortcuts to help with any of your automations? Yeah, I do use a few. I've done some videos on them, but it kind of depends. Like I said, now I'm kind of getting to where I'm starting to use, since I have, all these other platforms or methods, like either it's controller for HomeKit, you can do more advanced stuff there with your automations, or Home Assistant or Homey Pro. I'm starting to do more of my advanced stuff on those if I can, instead of using like shortcut automations. But sometimes I'll use shortcuts. Just depends on what it is. Like my CarPlay shortcuts are awesome, things like that. Robert says, I think I saw one of your recent short videos with a black Aqara mini switch. Was that a 3D print or a skin? It was 3D printed. So yes, that's a little teaser for that upcoming video that I was mentioning earlier. So stay tuned for that video. But we're talking about some cool ways to use a 3D printer with your smart home. I don't find how to connect SwitchBot air purifier with Matter over Wi-Fi. Mine is only connected with Hub 2 and only allows on-off. So you have to do it. There's a firmware update for the SwitchBot air purifier, at least the air purifier table. I got that recently, like just in the past couple of days. So check to make sure the firmware gets updated, and you should be able to get that and it's in the air purifier settings in the SwitchBot app. You'll actually have its own Matter configuration there in the settings for the purifier. So not the hub. Keenan says, I'm playing around with controller for HomeKit. It's been difficult to get past the surface level, but it has been nice for troubleshooting. Will they bring virtual switches to their hub mode? That's a good question. I don't recall if they are or not, or if I've heard anything about that. That's a good question. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm looking at. So this is the controller for HomeKit app here, and this is the new hub mode we're talking about. I saw there was a recent update, and I don't remember what was in the update. Let's see. And notifications. Yeah, I have to check the most recent update, but I don't know. It seems like maybe they could do that, but I'm not sure. Do you think Apple will ever support Matter cameras? Yeah, eventually, but there's no such thing as a Matter camera right now. So Matter doesn't support cameras, so therefore Apple doesn't support Matter cameras right now. But in the future, one day, Matter will support cameras, and then one day, probably a year after that, Apple will support Matter cameras. So that's my prediction. Did you get all 3 of the new Aqara switches? If so, you'll be doing a review of the touchscreen dial. I did not, because they were only available in Europe. So all the new Aqara devices that we discussed today are only available in Europe. And when they are available in the US, I will definitely try to get my hands on them and maybe do some review videos featuring those. I'm definitely interested in a few of those and excited to see those hit the US market, but as of this point, they have not. So they should be sometime this year. Oh, yes. Thank you. Good point. Frederick says, if you are a member and I did not get your question today, please ask over on the members only Discord server. Appreciate that, Frederick. Yeah, you can definitely, what I would say is drop a comment over there in Discord in whichever channel you think it's appropriate, and you can tag me and I'll see that and I can respond that way. And then that way other people can also chime in, other members, if they have anything to add to the conversation. But you can also DM me if you prefer to do that over there on Discord. And if you're not a channel member, you'd like to become one, just hit the join button down there for more information. It's about $5 a month. You get access to our members only Discord server, as well as monthly member chats, which we'll do one, I think next Wednesday will be the next one. And also you get early access to new videos and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just a great way to support the channel. So I appreciate all of you channel members who are in here. I see we have a lot of you guys here today. I appreciate you. Alex, member for 26 months. Awesome. Thank you for that. Your HomeKit emoji comes out a little weird here in my chat pop-up, but we know what you're saying. I appreciate you. Thank you. And appreciate all you guys for hanging out today. I do got to get running because I've got some dad duties this evening. My daughter's cheering at a game, and we got to do this little like parent walkout type of thing, I think, pretty soon. So I'm going to get running to that. But I appreciate hanging out with you guys, and it's been great to talk about smart home stuff. Tune in next week, and maybe we'll see where I go with all this smart home stuff in my home. But we'll have some new videos coming out soon. Again, there's one coming out definitely this Sunday. Also, you can follow me over on Instagram if you want more just behind the scenes and random stuff like that little black Aqara button that we were talking about earlier. All right, guys, appreciate everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your day, a great week, and God bless.